sounded really nice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know, obviously the ending of the last video was kind of cheesy. You know, we kind of wanted to have a little fun putting the engine back in, and it kind of gets boring just watching time lapse over and over again, kind of putting stuff in and taking stuff out. So kind of had a little fun with it, but as you guys can see, we got the engine back in. And we have the headers pointed forward. I did go ahead and cut this side off to fit. It was kind of, the pitman arm for the steering was kind of in the way anyway when we were trying to put it in. I still do have to cut this end off a little bit, but we mocked up the power steering pump just kind of quickly, and it does look like it's gonna fit. Few little things that I did need to address again now is the steering. I don't know if you can kind of see, there is a brake line on the other side of the steering that needs to be moved. So what I'll do is I'll pull apart that steering yoke and just move it to the other side and then put it back together. But there is room for that. We still have yet to mock up the water pump and the other front accessories, the radiator and stuff like that, because I'm waiting. I have to do a little bit of work on the water pump to get it sealed up, what I had to modify before. But other than that, I'm waiting on the turbo to come in so we can go ahead and start mocking up a few things. I think the plan is on this video is to take care of a lot of the wiring issues. Not really issues, but more wiring, disgusting looking wiring part of it, and start putting it all back together. Get the transmission all hooked back up to the engine, clean this. Now that I have the heater motor out and the heater box, go ahead and run some of the wiring into the car that I need to do, and keep plugging along. You know, really there's not a whole lot more to do before we fire this thing up with a turbo. As soon as I get the turbo, which it should be in about a week. There's plenty still left to do to get that in order. I'm probably going to mock up everything back in as far as like radiator, water pump, alternator. Probably just go ahead and put everything back in. And then that way we know exactly where we need to put the turbo, how we need to mock it up, and stuff like that. But I wanted to go and kind of talk through a little bit of what our plans are. You know, we'll probably talk about it more a little bit, but we had kind of talked a little bit about how there was an issue with Jerry's engine, being the heads just aren't really working out like we thought they were going to. So I actually think Steven's decided to go ahead and put a LS in that as well. Pretty much quick and dirty setup, just like I have in the Camaro. Just go ahead and get a long block out of the junkyard and throw it together, and then maybe turbo it right away, maybe just run it NA, and then that way we both have the same setup going to the track, and we kind of are a little bit more familiar with what's going on. But we can talk more about that once we kind of get into it. But just a heads up on that, we're going to be putting another LS together for his car. Still going to kind of use this as the tester, just to kind of see what we like, what we don't like. But yeah, there's probably not going to be a whole lot in this video other than some wiring stuff. I'll probably start putting back together the engine, which will be a lot of fun. But yeah, still super cold, getting a lot of snow, so I don't know, we're slowing down. I need the turbo to do some stuff, so wiring is a big task and it's kind of boring, but needs to be done. But yeah, next video after this one will be turbo video, hopefully, if it comes in on time like it should. But we're going to keep cleaning this thing up. I think I have decided I do have 10-inch wide rims on the rear of this thing right now. And what I think I'm going to do is I actually have a Ford 8.8 out of an Explorer that I'm going to convert and put under this thing. So I actually do have to get new rims, and I wanted to get drag radials for the back of this thing anyway, so I think maybe the plan is the Steven's going to use these wheels and put slicks on his car or radials, but I'm going to get new tires and wheels for this thing once I put the new rear end underneath it. But because right now it still has the factory 7.5 rear end, which, I mean, I'm surprised it even held up on the first burnout, to be honest. As soon as this thing actually hooks, its axle's going to snap. I mean, it's going to just, it's so tiny, but it's kind of just working through things as we can. But yeah, I know I'm kind of talking a lot in this one. But there's not, we're just kind of going to have to, a lot of it is me doing the reverse of what I just did, is putting the torque converter back together, front accessories, cleaning up the wiring, making sure all that stuff is taken care of. I do have to, with this aftermarket oil pan, I do have to put in an auxiliary oil filter setup, which I already have. I just need to plumb that up and put it where it's convenient to do, because it's not on the oil pan anymore like the factory stuff is. Got to do stuff like that. But yeah, I'll probably just kind of knock out a bunch of stuff, keep going with it. We're not going to do a cage in this car yet. We're kind of just going to run it at the track and see what it does. And then kind of go from there once we figure out we need a cage, we need more safety. I am going to go ahead and get a quick release steering wheel, because this column on these factory stuff is no tilt. It's super low down. It's pretty inconvenient to get in and out of the car. And I'm also going to get at least a new seat for the driver. This one is all rusted out and it's all broken anyway. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get a new seat. It's probably not going to be a race seat, maybe. It might just be a racier seat, but still with sliders and stuff like that. But I'm going to try to keep this thing full interior car for now, just because I want it to be a street strip car. But eventually it's going to turn into mostly drag race. But for now, before I make it too fast, I kind of want to keep it a little bit comfortable, even though there's no longer heat or anything. But this thing won't be driven on any day other than nice weather and, you know, small short cruise. So, but yeah, update on everything as far as that goes. Like I said, we're just going to keep plugging away, trying to make this fun, trying to make this interesting. It's kind of the low part in the, you know, the build, so bear with us. But, you know, good things are coming soon. Turbo stuff's always fun to fab. We're really looking forward to working on cold side, hot side fabrication. Tuning the car is going to be a whole lot of fun with HB tuners. Really looking forward to that. You know, we have so much coming, you know, soon. It's going to be quite a blast, so stick with us. I think Jerry's going to start turning into a LS car, turbo LS car, so that'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, I don't know, hopefully enjoy the ride. We're having fun, trying to get a little more comfortable on camera and everything else, and do a little more things that kind of, I don't know, out of the ordinary, seem fun, try to make it our own, you know. But yeah, cut to me doing some more work. All right, as you guys can tell, I got the headers put on it, and not really much else. I did get the underside all buttoned up and everything. I know it's I was going to do time lapse from me working on it, but I haven't really done a whole lot that you can see other than underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting back together the engine on the top side, getting the coils done, getting the intake back on, getting some of the stuff in the front put on. Some of the stuff in the front isn't really going to go back on right away, just because of the turbo kit that I'm building. And like I said earlier, it is on its way, and should be here soon. But there was a small leak in some of the fabrication that I had done previously on the water pump to change the water neck. Kind of really poor work, to be honest. And I have to kind of redo some of that. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle that real quick before I can put the water pump on and get the front drive back on. But really quick, I wanted to mock up the power steering and then get the water pump taken care of in this video. Alright, well, as you can see, got the power steering pump mocked up in place. It's definitely going to be really tight with the power steering lines. I think we can probably move this one just a little bit. It doesn't hit, but I think it'll be okay. I mean, it's definitely going to make the power steering pump a little warm, but maybe we can heat wrap the headers. Obviously this is just mocked up because I'm gonna have to modify these headers for the turbo kit, but I just wanted to throw a couple bolts in there and see exactly how close it was. And it looks like it'll actually work. So that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and fix the water pump now. The whole issue before was I had to add this little kick on this truck water pump, this new water pump, and it's just leaking a little bit. I'm going to clean a lot of these welds up and just do it better. But yeah, go ahead and do that real quick so I can throw that back on. We kind of know where exactly that's going to lay, so you can start kind of like laying out the hot side for the turbo. But yeah, it's coming along. Alright guys, well, I know most of this video has kind of been me talking about the Camaro and some of Jerry and what we wanted to get done, but as you can see, I kind of threw the wiring back on. It's definitely the start of cleaning up some stuff. I wanted to throw it all back together. That way I know exactly what to maybe shorten, kind of tie together, clean up. I have a few more things left to button up. But like we kind of said last video, with the problems with the oil and stuff, I want to go ahead and get this thing thrown back together and fire it back up with an oil change. That way we know, you know, if in worst case scenario, we might have to tear these heads off and replace the gaskets. So I'm putting everything back together, but kind of with the notion of we might be pulling it right back apart. If we do need to do the head gaskets, which is fine. We got to pull it back apart anyway to start doing the turbo stuff like I said before. But now with the headers turned around, it gives us an idea of how we want to run, what we want to run, what we need to change up, and you know, kind of how we need to go and move forward with it. But I'm going to go ahead and close this video off here. Like I said, it's a lot of talking, not much action, but it's just kind of one of those things I got to put it right back together to figure out an issue and also start mocking up the turbo stuff. So pretty much just reverse of what I had to do, pulling it out. But new oil pan, you know, flip the headers back around, got a few things cleaned up off the firewall, figured out a few things as far as some of the wiring and some of the issues that we have. So yeah, really productive. The engine's where it's going to be for now. So yeah, join us on the next one. We'll get this thing fired back up. See if the oil is still going to hold up, or if it might be a head gasket issue. So stay tuned. Turbo's coming next. We'll get that placement kind of finalized up here. And a lot of fab work coming up. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.